The Hawkins STEM Chronicles wishes you a happy Pi Day. Okay, Friday, March 14th. It's Pi Day and you're thinking, so what? I'm not into math. For that matter, I'm not even into STEM. I don't get it. What's the big deal? Fair enough. But here's the thing, pi is everywhere, whether you realize it or not. From your phone to your car, to robotics, even to space travel. This simple number quietly shapes the world around you. So congratulations. You just found the video that's going to break it all down, why people celebrate Pi Day, why pi actually matters, and most importantly, how it makes your everyday life better in ways you never imagined. Stick around because this is about to get interesting. And stay tuned to the end for a few surprises. Pi is truly everywhere. It's not just a math constant, it's the secret ingredient in everything from space exploration to Wi-Fi. But how does pi actually shape our world? Stick around because today, we're unlocking the hidden power of pi. Part 1. Just what is pi? Take a circle. Measure all the way around its edge. This is called the circumference. Then measure a straight line from one side of the circle to the other, passing through the center. That's the diameter. Now, divide the circumference by the diameter, and what do you get? Pi. This number is always the same, approximately 3.14159, but it never ends, and none of the numbers ever repeat. That's why pi is called a mathematical constant. No matter how big or small the circle, pi is always the same. For the record, a constant is something that always happens, like water freezing at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Don't take my word for it. Try it. Look around. Do you see anything circular? Look in the kitchen. Get a plate, as long as it's circular. Measure around its edge. Then measure a straight line from one side of the plate to the other. Remember that line must pass through the center. Last step, divide the circumference by the diameter to get pi. Now, guess what? You've just performed a science experiment. Way to go! Part 2 every day. Pi, let's start with weather. Pi happens every day. The big picture? The weather. Morning, noon, and night, local news programs throughout America. There are weather reports. Weather reports, the good ones, are based on the science of meteorology. Meteorology is the study of weather. It's all about understanding the atmosphere. Atmosphere is, of course, the invisible layer of air that surrounds the Earth. It's what we breathe, what birds fly through, and what gives us weather like wind, rain, and sunshine to understand and predict things like rain, storms, heat waves, and even climate patterns. Meteorology, then, is the science that helps us understand why it rains, why storms happen, and what makes some days hotter or colder. It's how we predict the weather and prepare for what's coming. How is pi used in the science of meteorology? Well, remember we talked about measuring a circle? And we agree that a circle is round. Earth is mostly round, not a perfect sphere, but close enough for our purposes. And not only is Earth round, but it also spins on its axis, creating day and night. So, when meteorologists track thunderstorms, tornadoes, or hurricanes, they rely on pi. Even something as simple as measuring global wind patterns requires calculations that involve pi. Now let's consider how pi is important to health, medicine, and the human body. Understanding pi helps reconstruct images of the human body. First, pi is essential to medical imaging, for example CT scans, MRIs, and ultrasounds. Pi helps MRI and CT scanners reconstruct images of the human body by taking circular scans of the human body. The software that converts these into clear images of organs and tissues relies on pi-based equations to process the data. Ultrasound waves also spread out in circular patterns, and pi helps in calculating distances and depths inside the body. Second, heart and blood flow. The human heart pumps blood in a circular motion through arteries and veins. Knowing pi helps calculate blood flow rates, heart chamber sizes, and blood vessel diameters, essential for diagnosing and treating heart diseases. Pacemakers and artificial heart valves are designed using formulas that involve pi. Third, cancer treatment. Radiation therapy used in cancer treatment must be precisely targeted. Pi is used in determining the correct dosage and beam angles to focus radiation only on tumors while avoiding healthy tissue. Fourth, pi is critical for medical research and drug dosage. Scientists use pi in statistical models to understand how medicines spread in the body. Pi helps in calculating surface areas and volumes of cells, bacteria, and even drug capsules, ensuring accurate dosing. Fifth, prosthetics and medical devices. Artificial limbs, dental implants, and even robotic surgical tools are designed based on circular and curved shapes, where pi is necessary for precision. Here's an example. A hip replacement joint must fit perfectly into a socket, requiring pi-based calculations. Part 3. Pi and the Final Frontier. How pi is used in space exploration. Pi is essential in space exploration because it helps scientists and engineers calculate distances, trajectories, orbits, and even the size of planets and galaxies. Here's how. First, pi is used in calculating orbits and spacecraft trajectories. Why do planets orbit the sun? Because of gravity, and orbital paths are circular or elliptical. NASA uses pi to calculate the correct trajectory for space probes and satellites. For example, the Mars rover landing required precise pi-based calculations to ensure it entered Mars' atmosphere at the right angle. Second, measuring distances in space. Space is too big to measure with a ruler, so scientists use pi in formulas like circumference equals 2 pi r to measure planet sizes, black holes, and galaxy distances. Third, rocket design and fuel efficiency. Rockets and fuel tanks are cylindrical, meaning engineers use pi to calculate volume, surface area, and fuel needs. Without pi, we wouldn't know how much fuel a spaceship needs to escape Earth's gravity. Fourth, planetary exploration and rover navigation. When the Perseverance rover drives on Mars, it calculates its movements using pi. How? Rover wheels are circular. Pi helps estimate how far the rover moves with each wheel rotation. Fifth, communication with deep space probes. NASA sends signals to distant spacecraft using radio waves. Pi is used in wave equations to predict how signals travel across vast space distances. So now you can clearly see everything from medical care to space exploration. Pi is probably a lot more important than you originally thought. And as promised, one last point about Pi Day. Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1879. Talk about a coincidence. A man born on Pi Day who grew up to study both math and physics, two fields that use pi. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, now that you know more about pi than you did before, what do you think about Pi Day now? Please share your comments below. Also, please help out the Hawkins Center for STEM. Please like and subscribe, and hit the bell icon to keep up to date on future videos from the Hawkins STEM Chronicles, a production of the Hawkins Center for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics.